What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Natty News Daily podcast. We are just a couple days after the Mr. America, which, as you guys know, if you follow along with kind of what we do here, we were down there for commentary again, which, if you're at all interested, the full live stream is on YouTube. Mark posted it on the Mr. America channel. So if you've got 10 hours to kill and you want to watch some high quality bodybuilding and listen to us shoot the shit for 10 hours straight, then that is on his YouTube channel, so go check that out. But not only was the Mr. America this past weekend, which we're going to touch on, but there was also a couple big shows globally. The UK Finals was this weekend, and then the EVO Classic, which I'm not overly familiar with their kind of affiliation to organizations or if it's own thing. I'm not entirely sure, but it's in Germany. And if anybody's following the natural bodybuilding scene in Germany, they are pumping out quality athletes left, right, and center. And the guy that we're going to show you here soon that won the overall, he's 21, which is bonkers. And he won the WMBF Germany overall not too long ago. And now he's won this and sounds like he's going to Worlds, which he looks good. He looks real good for 21. So
not even 421. Like, you don't even need to throw that clarifier in there. Like, he just looks good for anybody. He's 21.
Yeah, comma, also 21. So I'm going to screen share. Y'all see this?
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
So we'll start with kind of what we were at. So here are the overall champs from the Mr. America. So these are all the pro winners. There was an amateur class as well, but these are all the pro champions that obviously brought home some medals, brought home a cool ring. So what was, I guess you guys were there live. What was kind of the standouts for the pros that you witnessed?
Well, so the big thing that I wanted to highlight was there were 11 women's bodybuilders. It was huge, right? Like, you just don't see that anymore, right? Yep. So Natalie Hayes, who was the Yorton Cup physique winner, won women's bodybuilding as well. And she is 27, 20s. Yeah, somewhere in the 20s. Yeah. So, hopefully bringing on a new generation, new wave of women's bodybuilding. Now, I think I'm probably correct in saying that the vast majority of the competitors that were there were more mature. But still, just, it's tough to even find a women's bodybuilder in a show. So to find 11 high class ones was pretty cool to see, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially again, like we were talking about earlier, and she's 27, but like for women's bodybuilding, like building muscle takes a long time for a natural male athlete, much less a natural female athlete. So for her to be in the shape she's in at still under 30 and beating athletes that were, 10, 15 years her senior is pretty damn cool. One person that really impressed me every time is Jeremiah. So the classic physique winner. So I was not overly familiar with him until last year when we went to Mr. America. And as soon as he came out, I was like, whoa, this dude is legit. And he's now 3-time classic physique Mr. America champion. And, I can't remember who it was, but they'd come out before and James and I looked at each other and we're like, wow, this guy's a contender. He looks damn good. And then Jeremiah come out and you're like, okay,
never mind.
Well, maybe, you're seeing them individually. So you're like, okay, maybe this is going to be a bit more of a battle. But then you see them side by side and it's just, Jeremiah is just so well put together, so well built for classic. He's got these massive quads. Like this photo of his side chest, you can see like the thickness in him, but when you see him straight on, it's a whole other ball game. Like he's got these massive arms, which look so good in classic with these big quads. His posing is on the money. I think he's just like right now in anyways, especially at the Mr. America, he's like the classic standard, clearly being a 3-time champ. And I was just fangirling over him the whole time because I think he's incredible.
Yeah. No, it was like Anthony came out and then Darian Moore came out. And I think it was Darian that we were like, oh, shoot, like maybe Jeremiah is not going to win this year. And then Jeremiah came out and you're like, oh, no. Like, yeah, he's still dominant,
Yeah.
And that's the thing with social media. If we want to just like take a little segue, right? Like you can look fantastic on your own and just look ridiculous until you get compared side by side. And then it's like, there's levels to this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Even like we said, right? Like when he came out by himself, we were like, oh damn, like this guy might give Jeremiah a run for his money. So even on stage, he might look incredible, but you get them even in the lineup at first, they were separate. And we're sitting here trying to, like, you know, because we were there live, like feet from the stage, and we're trying to see, like, you're trying to step back and see, like, okay, he looks good, go through it. And then once they move and then they go through it, you're like, not quite, my friend, not quite.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like Jeremiah clean sweeped him, because I think we actually agreed maybe from the back he might have took that pose, especially in like the upper back and lats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were a couple different poses that he might have. And, you know, not to discredit the rest of the competition too. We're just talking about the two of them. But I mean, Scott, who was runner up, I believe, last year, ended up in 4th. And Scott improved from last year, right? Yep. So it's not like he came in softer or lost muscle. Like, that was probably Scott's best look as well.
Yeah.
I know we don't have a picture of him up right now, but you know, the number 2 runner up last year, ending 4th, I believe, after improving is, I mean, that just states like this show just keeps growing. And like, there's, even if there weren't, and this might be a critique we bring up, even if there weren't some of like the big names, like the Levi Burge, the Bada, the Mishak, there were people that had every right to be on that stage and would contend with those big names for sure.
Yep. For sure. Some other names of note: Maria from Italy took home both the Open and the Masters, which was cool to see her claim both titles. Courtney in figure was someone that you guys were familiar with, not so much me. And, you know, you both had commented that she was probably a contender to win, and sure enough, she did, and rightfully so. She looked unreal within the figure.
I don't know if that one was unanimous, but she stood out by far.
Yeah. The figure lineup was really good. It was
a really good figure lineup. It was a really good figure lineup, but she definitely stood out.
Yeah. Just some really, so, you know, and then I guess we kind of skipped over the big champ, the Mr. America himself, Robert, DFAC Pro, WNBF Pro, and just a really hard winner that day. Straight ones across the board, and rightfully so. He was definitely the front runner within the men's bodybuilding, and kind of like James alluded to earlier, he's someone that last year would have been in that mix with Bada, Mishak, Levi. You know, there's no doubt he would have been in that top 5 lineup with some names that are best of the best right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he might have been the most conditioned guy I've ever seen in person too.
Yeah,
like this photo doesn't do it.
This photo's not even. Yeah, the professional photos will show it a little bit better. This is just what I was able to get on my phone standing on stage with my iPhone.
Pull up that photo from his page, or he posted a video on his page. It'll load. One of the most recent ones. Third one there. Third one on the right. Yeah. Like you could see, like it goes through a video, but you could see just the cross striations through it, like his medialis. It's just like, that's just ridiculous. And seeing that in person, just hamstrings are stripped, glutes are stripped, everything, just top to bottom was just.
Yeah, this is.
And there's a reason it was unanimous, right? Like there's a reason for that.
Like this video is small for those watching, but like you can kind of get the idea. Oh, that's a little bit better actually. The camera comes in, but yeah, his shape, his flow, his posing, like Dan said, conditioning. You know, not many boxes unchecked by him on that day. And again, you know, 30 years old, like not old at all by natural bodybuilding standards. And to be at the level he's at, you know, a lot of guys we see achieving what he's achieving into their late 30s, 40, right? So he's really on the money as far as age in the game. And what did he say in the interview? He started at like 2018 or 2019 was his first show.
20 either 16 or 18 he started bodybuilding. I don't even think he said his first show. He just started bodybuilding because it was all soccer.
Oh yeah, he was in soccer beforehand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cheap plug. Watch this interview right here with Dan and him. We'll be releasing more of these. We got winter interviews that'll be going up over the next week or two. So keep an eye on.
Yeah, I got all the open winners. So
So that was Mr. America. Now jumping into the UKDFBA finals. This is Mark. Mark's huge.
That's a large man.
He's Adam Powell's client,
Yeah,
right?
Adam Powell's client. So you can see here, looks like from what I've seen, a pretty clean sweep so far through the season, and rightfully so. Massive bodybuilder, and really just, I mean, he's huge, right? He's complete. He's shredded. Again, this is iPhone quality photo. There's a better one, mind you, not a full body one here, but professional grade. And you can see, I mean, even that lighting's probably not even doing him justice, but like huge arms, huge shoulders, diced. So yeah, massive win for him this weekend. And I think this is his first season. I think. See if I can do a little, yeah, like no social media. Here's actually this pretty good photo of him and Adam. Yeah, so he was this overall in the Southerns. So they have, I think, 3 or 4 qualifiers. They have the Southerns, the Northerns, the Heart of England, and then the finals. And so he won the overall at the Southerns. Yeah, like look at that. That's good. Crazy. That does him justice better than the other photo. Glutes are in.
Yeah, in condition.
Yeah, just huge.
Yeah.
So I don't know what his plans are. If he's going to be pursuing, what's next through them. So they would have like the INBA World Finals, I think, is usually in Romania. Then obviously the Olympia, I think, would be the kind of the big contender for them. So it'll be interesting to see if he pursues that, because seeing him, he's definitely a contender to claim that title, I would think. Do we know who won the Olympia last year off the top of our heads?
Nah.
No, not overly familiar. Okay. Well, anyways, Mark is the current overall champ over there. And then this guy, Benjamin. Benjamin's a great athlete. Benjamin's also 21 years old and winning overall titles in potentially the most competitive region as far as like quality of bodybuilders. So if I go to the EVO Classic page, so there's Patrick. There's Daniel. Like the quality that's coming out of this region is absolutely insane. And these shows are extremely, there's Patrick again. These shows are extremely big too, which is something that like over here, you guys, talking about over in America, like shows with 3 and 4 guys, and then you have your overall winner who turns pro and this, that, and the other. Not potentially the most accurate representation of quality. But when you have someone like Benjamin who is winning, where'd he go? Right there. Who's winning the overall in these massive shows at such a young age. Like, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
There's a shot from Germany. So WMBF Germany, there's him with Patrick and Daniel, who I guess he's coached by Daniel, I think. But like, look at his chest. He's peeled.
Absolutely stripped.
They're doing something different over there. That is for sure. US, step your shit up.
It's just right insane. Now. Like, I don't know what to pinpoint my finger on. Like, are they just taking it like so much more seriously?
It's gotta be that to a degree, right? Like you see it, the societies or the cultures that, and we could go all sorts of deep dives on this one, but the societies and cultures that allow people to be successful in a career as like a personal trainer and a coach, where whether like cost of living is lower or it's just like more lucrative, those guys just crush it.
Yeah, and I noticed
And
a lot of those guys spend time together too, Daniel and all those guys, which I think is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So for reference, so if we go back to Natty News, so this is Fabian, who was in the middleweights at that same show. He was first at WNBF Worlds last year, lost in the overall to Bada, but Benjamin beat him. And now if he ends up going to Worlds, like, not impossible for Benjamin to potentially like clock in a world title at 21.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Wild.
Even so here's Nicholas, classic physique overall champ. So again, not just bodybuilding in this show, but the show as a whole, just spitting out quality left and right. Like, that is,
man, it's no waste.
Yeah, like natural bodybuilding and classic physique can definitely coexist.
Careful.
Yeah, just crazy. Actually, I wanted to come back here. I skipped over this one. This was the pro winner at the UK show. So Mark was in the amateurs. And that's not the best shot of Nigel here, but he was on Muscle Longevity, but he's another one that's pretty damn impressive. I had to go digging to find any good photos, but they're buried pretty far down his feed. But he's a good one. Yeah, just all around a really big weekend for competitions around the world, and
the time of year. I love it.
Well, and it's just like the quality, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems to be constantly, the bar just keeps getting higher, you know? And you got guys like 21, 22, and you know, the bodybuilding there at Mr. America 27. It's just crazy. Like, you got people winning titles at under 30 years old and barely scratching the surface of what's possible.
Makes you wonder, what these guys are gonna look like at 35. Like, wild.
Hopefully lights a fire under some other people's too, right? Like, not the whole like, oh, they're fake, natural, whatever. Like, shut up. Like, there can't be this many people that are of this quality popping up and it just be like a fluke or a fake,
just one big lie.
Yeah.
And
we're
even
not all lying.
To like come back to like Fabian, he was, in a lot of people's eyes, it wasn't completely Bada winning like a clean sweep. We've had conversations with fellow coaches, and
Eric Helms said he's the best in the world. He thought he was the best in the world right now.
Yeah, Cliff was there and potentially had him in that first spot too. So, not to take anything against Fabian, but again, to go back to Benjamin, the fact that he beat him at this show, and maybe Fabian wasn't at his best at that show and he's saving it for later, but just
still,
it's just baffling to me that someone so young has such a future. Like, people really discount the 1% genetics card, but like Doug Miller existed, and even currently with like Josh Kenyon, like, people look at these people and they're like, oh, how is that possible? But those people exist. You know what I mean? Like, there's also people who are also 8 feet tall and 7'10". Like, it doesn't mean that they don't exist. They may be a small minority, but there's also those people that are just gifted at building muscle and getting shredded. They
well, we have two prime examples of it, right? You said Josh, and he's a perfect example because we saw Josh in 2017 and everyone was like, oh my gosh, how could he look better? Well, he did. When he came back this year, right? Like, just looked ridiculous. And same with Dirk. Like, well, how do you improve from that? Okay, he did, right? Like, so in a couple of years, like, you're seeing these crazy transformations that are just like lights out, and they're still young. Right? Yeah, they're not, it's 2 years later and they've just still are just evolving.
Yeah, so here's Josh, right? 5 years between these photos, but still, and people hear that 5 years, oh my God, but still a drop in the bucket as far as how long he could do this game for and the progress that he made. And again, he's still 26, 27, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mentioned Dirk, who actually just posted, good timing on that, because he just posted something recently about a transformation. Oh, where is it? This one. Yeah. So 19 months between these photos. And again, like, insane. Insane. Yeah. And again, he's only 28, I think Wayne said, 28, 27, 28. Like so just a kid in the game. But I mean, we were talking to Wayne about Dirk at the Mr. America, and he says he lives and breathes it, right? Like, the man is dedicated to his craft and is doing everything he can to get everything he can out of it. And, you know, bantam world champion in front of us, more than likely.
Yeah. I don't know how you beat that. Now, again, right? Like this, and we've all seen Dirk on stage, but right, like, who knows? Because he could stand next to someone else and just be absolutely, you know, get that comparison and it'd be completely different. I don't see that happening, but that is the danger of looking at someone just solely on their Instagram, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like, you know, we were talking about that at the Mr. America, where there's these athletes that they don't post anything, they don't share anything. Maybe they're a bit older and don't use social media that much, and they are still bodybuilders. Just because they're not posting anything doesn't mean they're any less of a bodybuilder. And they show up and you're like, whoa, where the heck did this guy come from? And there's your champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, especially like some of those masters competitors we were seeing, right? Like, especially like the masters men's bodybuilding, it was just like, these dudes are fucking tanks.
Yeah, and they're just grinding away.
Yeah, just imagine them 20 years ago, because most of them were like the 50 plus, not even like, oh, I'm a master's, but I'm 35 type deal. It was like, yeah, you're like someone's grandfather, maybe great grandfather, and you still could win an open bodybuilding title.
Yeah.
Seeing Marshall Johnson at 62 looking the way he does, like, it's just like,
yeah, it's just insane what the body can do if you're smart about it and if you're natural about it, because you can maintain that, right?
Yeah. Sweet.
Love it.
Sweet. Love it. All right, people. Short and sweet episode. Just wanted to highlight kind of what went on this past weekend. Maybe we'll do like a full episode, you know, talking about Mr. America and our experience at that. But I wanted to touch on just everything that transpired this past weekend, because there was a lot of big shows, and I wanted to touch on, you know, the quality of athletes and everything that was going on, because this sport is just on the uptick, and people are going to get left behind if they don't step it up. So whole countries are going to get left behind if they don't step it up. So we appreciate you guys watching, obviously. And shameless plug, we just hit 18,000 on Instagram, so we appreciate the support. Road to 20K, which is pretty cool, because not too long ago it was road to 10K. Now we're almost double that, which is pretty damn awesome. So we appreciate the support. Obviously, if you are a new listener, give us a follow on Instagram at Natty_News_Daily. Subscribe for future episodes, and we'll see you guys in the next one.